Imagine for a moment that what you desire most is already yours. Not something distant, not something you are chasing, but something that has unfolded quietly, naturally, in the reality you are now living. Feel it so vividly that it leaves no room for doubt, no room for second guessing. To act as if your time has come is not to pretend, it is to accept. It is to occupy the state of being where what you have longed for is no longer a hope, it is a fact. You must rise inwardly into the consciousness of your fulfilled desire. You must wear it as you would a garment, effortlessly, confidently, knowing it fits you perfectly because it is yours. It belongs to you because you claimed it first in imagination. Imagination is not idle. It is the first cause of all creation. To imagine yourself as you wish to be is to begin the movement that draws all necessary events, people, and circumstances to crystallize that unseen reality into form. There is no power outside of your own wonderful human imagination. As you persist in the assumption that your time has come, the outer world, though it may resist at first, must eventually mirror the inner certainty you carry. Feel the excitement of your success now. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the knowing that you have arrived. Your world will bend and shift, not because you fought it, not because you forced it, but because you lived from the end and allowed it to rearrange itself in accordance with your conviction. The secret is to act not from the absence of your desire, but from its presence. You do not wait for evidence, you are the evidence. You breathe it, you move with it, you sleep with it, resting sweetly in your heart. To act as if is to believe more in the unseen reality within you than in the facts that clamor for your attention outside. It is to live in the promise, not in the problem. When the senses scream that nothing has changed, you gently remind yourself that the senses are slow, that they only reflect the changes already made in the deeper, invisible realms. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the bridge between where you have been and where you are destined to be. Your inner speech, your secret conversations, your nightly meditations, all must reflect that your time is now, your time has come. There is no room for hesitation, no room for fear, no room for questioning. You must persist in the assumption until it hardens into fact. You must carry yourself differently, think differently, respond differently, not by forcing behavior, but by embodying the state of the fulfilled dream so completely that there is no gap between your inner world and your outer experience. Every step you take, every breath you draw, every thought you nurture must affirm that you are now living the life you once only imagined. You do not ask when it will happen. You know it has happened. You do not wonder if you are worthy. You know you are the operant power. You do not plead for signs. You live as the sign. When you act as if your time has come, the universe has no choice but to yield to the command of your inner certainty. To truly embody the state of the fulfilled desire is to recognize that you are not separate from what you seek. The feeling of fulfillment is not something that is out there, waiting for you to achieve it or obtain it in the future. It is something that exists within you right now. The key to manifestation is understanding that the experience of your desire already lives within you, in thought, feeling, and imagination. Therefore, when you desire something, it is not a future event you're waiting for, but a present reality that you must align with. When you embody the state of the fulfilled desire, you begin to act as if you are already the person who has achieved what you want. This is not simply about putting on a facade, pretending to be something you are not, but rather about fully stepping into the feeling and identity of the person who has already received their desire. The idea is that you do not wait for the external world to change before you feel the way you want to feel. You begin to feel it now, within, knowing that your outer reality must eventually conform to the inner state of being you are living in. This means that when you imagine your dream, you do not just think about it abstractly. You do not merely picture an ideal version of your life in your mind as something you hope to have. Instead, you feel it deeply. You saturate your being with the emotion and vibration of having already realized your desire. You let that feeling fill every cell of your body, your thoughts, your actions, and your environment. It is not enough to think that you want something. You must feel that you have it now. This feeling is the energy that propels the outer manifestation. Think about a time when you felt truly successful, when everything in your life was flowing and you were at peace with who you are. That feeling, the sense of achievement, the inner confidence, the joy of knowing that everything was as it should be, is exactly the state you must embody in order to manifest your desires. By feeling that way now, even before your desires have fully manifested, you are sending out a signal to the universe that this state is your current reality. This is the power of embodying the state of your fulfilled desire. You are aligning your inner world with the outer world you seek to create. This process does not involve waiting for circumstances to align or for the right conditions to come about. It requires that you take ownership of your feeling of fulfillment in the present moment. The law of attraction works because like attracts like. When you consistently feel the fulfillment of your desires, you send out a frequency that matches the reality you are calling into being. It is a matter of living from the end, living as though what you desire has already arrived. For example, if you are seeking financial abundance, you do not wait for a large sum of money to appear before you feel abundant. You begin to act and think as if you are already wealthy. This means cultivating a mindset of abundance, spending time imagining how it would feel to be financially free, and allowing yourself to embrace the comfort, freedom, and security that would come with that wealth. By embodying those feelings, you align yourself with the state of wealth, and as you do, the universe rearranges itself to bring those conditions into your life. The key is not to simply imagine what it would feel like, but to let it become so real to you that it becomes impossible to separate your current self from the person who has already achieved their goal. This is what it means to act as if. You become that person now. Your thoughts, beliefs, actions, and emotions all align with the identity of someone who has already succeeded. In essence, you stop waiting for something external to change and instead recognize that the change must happen from within you first. When you act as if, you are essentially saying to yourself, I have already arrived. You begin to live as the person who has what they desire, which automatically shifts your external circumstances. This is not a one-time act or a fleeting thought. It is a deep inner transformation that happens over time. The more you embody the state of the fulfilled desire, the more that state becomes your reality. The transformation happens not through force or effort, but through alignment. Alignment with the energy of your desire, alignment with the feeling of fulfillment, alignment with the knowing that you are already that person, and your world will begin to shift. It may not happen overnight, and the signs may not appear immediately, but the more consistently you live from that place of inner fulfillment, the more the world must reflect that back to you. The act of embodying the state of the fulfilled desire is also about consistency. It is about consistently choosing to live from the end, consistently returning to the feeling of already having what you want, even when the external world presents evidence to the contrary. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending that problems don't exist. It simply means that, in the midst of challenges, you still maintain the internal belief that your desires are already manifesting, and you live with the feeling that you are already the person you wish to become. Over time, this feeling of fulfillment will become second nature to you. You will no longer need to remind yourself to feel it, because it will become your default state of being. As you continue to embody this state, the universe will mirror back to you the conditions that match your inner world. You will begin to see evidence of your desires coming to life in the most surprising and unexpected ways. Ultimately, to embody this state of the fulfilled desire is to claim the life you want as already yours. It is to take on the mindset of someone who has already achieved their dreams and to live from that place every single day. When you live as if your time has come, you align your inner world with the outer reality you wish to experience. You stop chasing after your desires and instead you become the very embodiment of them. Through this alignment, everything you desire will flow to you naturally, because the universe can only give you what you have already accepted as your truth. Imagination is not merely a tool for escape or daydreaming. It is the very foundation of creation. Every experience, every reality, every form in this world first existed as an idea, a vision, or a feeling in someone's mind. The world you see around you is a reflection of collective imaginations, ideas brought to life through the power of belief and thought. Imagination is the realm in which creation begins, and it is the first cause of all that exists. To fully understand this is to realize that everything you seek in your life already exists within you in the form of imagination. It is in this mental space where your dreams, your desires, your deepest wishes reside, waiting to be recognized and brought into form. When you think about a desire, whether it is financial freedom, health, success, or love, that desire is not some abstract thing out of reach. It is already within you as a thought, a feeling, an image. That idea which you hold in your mind is not a random wish, it is the seed of creation. Every desire you experience is a blueprint that exists in your imagination long before it materializes in your physical world. The key to manifesting your desires lies in understanding this profound truth. Imagination is not just a passive mental exercise. It is the active creative force that shapes your reality. Imagination is the first cause because it precedes action. Before you can take any physical steps toward achieving a goal, you must first conceive it in your mind. Without the idea, there is no form. For example, every invention, every piece of art, every innovation that has ever existed began as a mental image. It was not brought into existence by chance. It was imagined first. The imagination of the creator made it real before it was ever physically realized. Your desire to manifest something in your life follows the same pattern. It exists first as an image in your mind, and it is through the act of living in that image that you bring it into being. The power of imagination lies in its ability to transcend the limitations of the present. The present reality, with all its apparent constraints and challenges, is not the final word on what is possible for you. Through imagination, you can step into the realm of infinite possibilities. It is the bridge between the world of ideas and the world of things. If you want to create something in your life, you must first imagine it in vivid detail. You must see it, feel it, and live as if it already exists. The more real you make this mental picture, the stronger the magnetic pull it will have on your life. When you live from the end result, you begin to shape your external circumstances to match that inner reality. Imagination is not a passive state, but an active engagement with your desires. It requires you to feel deeply, to pour your emotional energy into the images you create. If you imagine something, but do not feel the associated emotions of already having it, you are not fully engaging the power of your imagination. Emotion is the fuel that propels the imagined image into physical reality. To imagine without emotion is like trying to drive a car without gas. The image may be clear, but without the emotional charge, it lacks the energy needed to move it from the realm of thought to the world of form. For instance, if you imagine being financially abundant, it is not enough to simply visualize piles of money or luxurious homes. You must feel the freedom, the security, the relief that wealth brings. You must immerse yourself in the emotions of having it now. What would you feel like if you were already financially free? Would you feel at peace, proud, confident, or relaxed? You must experience these emotions as if you are already living that life. This is the true power of imagination. When you combine clear mental imagery with the corresponding emotions, you create a powerful force that begins to shape your reality. Imagination also allows you to explore possibilities beyond the limits of your current situation. If you are facing challenges or setbacks, imagination allows you to see past these obstacles and envision the life you desire. It enables you to expand beyond what is physically present, opening up the space for new opportunities, ideas, and solutions to emerge. Imagination does not ask you to ignore the present moment, but to transcend it. It allows you to move beyond your current circumstances by shifting your focus to what is possible rather than what seems to be. This ability to transcend the present moment through imagination is what makes it so powerful. When you are struggling with a problem, it may feel like the answer is nowhere to be found. But through the creative power of imagination, you can see yourself already having solved the problem. Imagine the peace, the sense of accomplishment, the joy of overcoming whatever challenges stand before you. When you can see yourself as victorious in your imagination, the solution will eventually unfold in the physical world. This is the magic of imagination. It allows you to see the outcome before it is manifest, and by doing so, it aligns your inner world with the external world. It is also important to understand that imagination is not a one-time exercise. It is a continuous practice, an ongoing state of being. Just as you would not plant a seed in the ground and then abandon it, you must continue to nurture your imagined reality with your thoughts and feelings. Every day, you must return to your imagined outcome and live in that reality. The more consciously you do this, the more it becomes ingrained in your subconscious mind, and the more effortlessly it manifests in your life. Imagination is not limited by what is visible or tangible. The mind is not confined to the present moment or the physical constraints of time and space. Through imagination, you can create a reality that exists beyond the here and now. This is the power of the mind to shape the future. Imagination is the blueprint from which all things are created, whether it is a material possession, a relationship, or a state of being. Everything starts in the mind. It begins as a mental image, an idea that, when combined with emotion and belief, is brought to life in the physical world. To fully harness the power of imagination, you must trust in its ability to create. The more you trust in your ability to create your reality through imagination, the more powerful it becomes. You must let go of doubt and the fear that your desires are too far out of reach. When you fully embrace the power of your imagination, you understand that you are the creator of your own reality, and that every thought you think and every image you hold in your mind has the potential to become your lived experience. Trusting in the power of imagination is the key to unlocking the life you truly desire. Living from the end is a principle that transcends the concept of hope or desire for the future. It is the conscious choice to live as though the very thing you wish to manifest is already a part of your reality here and now. This does not mean you wait for your outer world to align with your wishes before you begin to embody them, but instead you live with the understanding that the fulfillment of your desires exists within you right now. When you choose to live from the end, you are not simply imagining or wishing for a future event to occur, but rather you are embodying the person who has already attained what they desire. To live from the end means to adopt the mindset and emotional state of someone who already possesses their desire. If you seek financial abundance, for instance, you do not wait until the money appears to start feeling abundant. Instead, you assume the feeling of abundance now. This assumption creates a state of alignment with the reality you wish to manifest, and it is through this alignment that your desired outcomes begin to unfold. The secret is not in waiting for something to happen in the external world, but in recognizing that everything you seek is already available to you, but only when you align your consciousness with the fulfillment of that desire. When you live from the end, you live in the assumption that the desire has already been fulfilled, which shifts your entire perspective. Rather than focusing on the absence of your desires, you focus on their fulfillment. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the desire is something that is far off in the future, something that will come to you when the right conditions are met. But living from the end challenges this view. It asks you to see that everything you desire already exists as a possibility within your consciousness. And when you begin to feel as though it is already yours, it must eventually materialize in your outer world. The key to living from the end is in the emotional and mental state you create. When you live from the end, you act, think, and feel in ways that align with the assumption that your desire is already realized. For example, if you are manifesting a loving relationship, you must first embody the emotional state of someone who is loved, cherished, and in a healthy relationship. You cannot wait for the relationship to appear before you feel this way. You must feel the love, the security, and the joy in your own being now in anticipation of what is to come. This emotional alignment becomes the catalyst for your manifestation. Living from the end also involves a sense of trust in the process. You must trust that once you align yourself with your desire, the world will shift in ways that bring you closer to its physical manifestation. The idea of living from the end challenges the belief that we must wait for certain conditions or events to happen before we can feel fulfillment. The key is to shift your mindset to one where you are already fulfilled and are simply waiting for your outer world to reflect that inner state. It is in this trust that you allow the universe to work on your behalf, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly and that your desires are already on their way to you. It is essential to understand that living from the end is not about denying your present circumstances or ignoring the challenges you may be facing. It is about choosing to shift your focus away from what is missing in your life and toward what is already complete within you. By doing so, you create a state of readiness for the manifestation of your desires. If you constantly focus on the lack or absence of something, you continue to feed that state of lack, and the universe reflects that back to you. However, when you focus on the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, you begin to resonate with that state, and the conditions in your life will begin to mirror it. Living from the end also requires patience and persistence. It is not always an instantaneous process, and it may take time for your external circumstances to catch up with your inner state. However, the more consistently you live from the end, the more you train your mind and emotions to align with the fulfillment of your desires. Eventually, you will no longer be waiting for your desire to arrive, because you will already be living in the state of having it. This state of living from the end is one of gratitude, trust, and certainty. You feel as though you have already received your desire, and this feeling amplifies your ability to attract it into your life. The power of living from the end lies in its ability to create a shift in your perception. You begin to see yourself as the person who has already achieved their goal, and this transforms the way you interact with the world. When you view yourself as already successful, abundant, or loved, your actions and behaviors begin to reflect that image. You make decisions, take actions, and speak from a place of confidence and self-assurance. This shift in behavior is crucial because it sends a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive your desires. When you act as if your desire has already been fulfilled, you begin to attract the circumstances, people, and opportunities that align with that assumption. In living from the end, you also practice surrender. You surrender the need to control the how of your manifestation. Often, when we desire something, we become fixated on how it will come to us, when it will happen, and what steps we need to take. However, when you live from the end, you trust that the universe knows the best way to bring your desires to fruition. You release the need for specifics and allow yourself to be guided by inspiration and intuition. So, living from the end means accepting that the manifestation is already on its way and that everything will unfold in divine timing. This practice of living from the end can also be seen as a form of self-mastery. It is the ability to discipline your mind and emotions to align with your highest vision of yourself, regardless of external circumstances. It is about not allowing temporary setbacks or challenges to sway you from your internal state of fulfillment. You consistently choose to live from the end, knowing that the more you do so, the more your outer reality will begin to reflect your inner world. In essence, living from the end is an act of faith and belief. It is the act of embodying the belief that your desires are already yours, and by doing so, you become a magnet for the circumstances and conditions that will bring them into your life. By living as if your desire has already manifested, you align yourself with the energy of fulfillment, and that energy becomes the driving force behind the physical manifestation of your dreams. Through this process, you realize that the life you desire is not something you need to chase after, but something you must embody and live from within yourself. Faith is a powerful force that can move mountains, transform circumstances, and bring about extraordinary changes in life. It is more than just belief in something unseen. It is the unwavering trust that the desires of your heart will manifest. Faith is the bridge between the visible and invisible worlds, and it is through faith that you align your inner reality with the outer reality you wish to create. To live with faith is to walk in alignment with the certainty that the unseen world is as real as the world you see with your physical eyes. This kind of faith is not passive but active. It is the kind of faith that takes bold, confident steps, even when there is no external evidence to support your desires. When you place your faith in your vision, in your desires, you are consciously choosing to trust that what you seek already exists. Faith moves you from a state of doubt and uncertainty to a state of certainty and conviction. The external world may not reflect your desires immediately, but faith allows you to continue moving forward, trusting that the physical manifestation is inevitable. Just because you do not see immediate results does not mean your desires are not on their way to you. Faith holds the space for your desires, it sustains you through the waiting process, and it ensures that your inner reality remains in alignment with the manifestation of your dreams. Faith is a form of mental discipline. It is the choice to believe in what you cannot yet see, to maintain your belief in the face of contrary circumstances. It is easy to have faith when things are going well, when everything seems to be in alignment with your desires. But true faith is tested in the moments of uncertainty, when things do not appear to be progressing as you hoped. In these moments, faith is the force that keeps you grounded in your belief that your desires are already on their way. Faith is the anchor that keeps you from drifting away in the storm of doubt. It is the strength that allows you to continue to live from the end, to act as though your desires are already fulfilled, even when the outer world seems to say otherwise. This kind of faith is not blind belief. It is rooted in the knowing that the mind is the creator of reality. When you have faith in the power of your mind to create your experiences, you understand that everything that happens in your life is a reflection of your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. Therefore, when you place your faith in the process of manifestation, you trust that by aligning your thoughts and emotions with your desires, you are setting the wheels of creation in motion. The physical world is simply a mirror of your inner state, and your faith in this truth will guide you toward the fulfillment of your dream. Faith is also the recognition that the universe is always working in your favor. It is the understanding that everything, no matter how it appears on the surface, is happening for your highest good. Even when things seem challenging or difficult, faith allows you to see beyond the surface and recognize the lessons, growth, and opportunities that are hidden within those experiences. Faith is not the absence of obstacles, but the ability to see the bigger picture. It is knowing that your desires are not just possible, but inevitable, and that every challenge you encounter is part of the journey to their fulfillment. The more you practice faith, the more it becomes a natural part of your life. Faith grows stronger through consistent practice and unwavering trust in the unseen. As you continue to act as though your desires have already manifested, you cultivate a deeper belief in your own ability to create the life you want. Faith is reinforced every time you take action despite the absence of immediate evidence, and every time you continue to live from the end, believing that your desires are already realized. Faith also involves letting go of control. It requires you to trust that the universe knows the best way to bring your desires into physical form. Often, we can get caught up in trying to control the how and the when of our manifestations. But true faith is in the surrender. It is trusting that everything will unfold in perfect timing and that the universe will bring you what you need when you need it. This surrender is not about passivity or inaction, but about releasing the need to micromanage the process. It is about trusting the flow of life and allowing things to unfold naturally. Living with faith means you do not allow fear or doubt to dictate your actions. Faith is the antidote to fear. When you choose to believe in the fulfillment of your desires, you are choosing to transcend fear and step into the fullness of who you are. Fear thrives in uncertainty, in doubt, in the belief that you are disconnected from your desires. Faith, on the other hand, is the certainty that your desires are already yours and that nothing can stop their manifestation. When fear arises, faith is the tool that allows you to move through it and continue walking toward your desired outcome. It is the recognition that fear is not real and that the only thing that truly exists is the fulfillment of your desires, which is already within you. It is important to note that faith is not about forcing something to happen or trying to manipulate the universe into giving you what you want. Faith is about trust, surrender, and knowing that what you seek is already on its way to you. It is the conscious decision to believe in the unseen, to trust that your desires are already fulfilled in the spiritual realm, and to allow that belief to shape your actions, thoughts, and emotions. Faith is not concerned with how the desire will manifest. It simply knows that it will. In the process of manifestation, faith is both the beginning and the end. It begins with the faith that your desire is already real, and it ends with the faith that the outer world will reflect your inner reality. As you continue to live from the end, you maintain your faith, knowing that everything is unfolding as it should. Faith is not something you need to keep reaffirming over and over again. It becomes a natural part of who you are. You no longer have to work to believe because you simply know. This knowing is the deepest form of faith, and it is the key to unlocking the manifestation of your desires. As you practice faith, you will see how it shapes your reality. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, and your actions all begin to align with the truth that your desires are already yours. In this state of alignment, the world responds accordingly. People, circumstances, and opportunities begin to appear as if by magic. This is not a coincidence, but the result of your faith and the belief that you have already achieved what you desire. Through this unwavering trust in the unseen, you draw your desires toward you, and they manifest in your life. Faith is not just the belief in a future possibility, but the recognition that what you seek is already within you, ready to be brought into the physical world. Faith, therefore, is the key to manifesting your dreams and living the life you truly desire. When you live in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled, you begin to shift your consciousness from a state of lack to a state of abundance. This assumption is not just a mental exercise, but a way of embodying the state of being that you wish to achieve. It is an understanding that the fulfillment of your desires is not something that is far off in the future, but something that is already a part of your present experience. The more you assume that what you desire is already yours, the more you begin to act, think, and feel in alignment with that truth. This shift in perspective transforms the way you experience life, and it has the power to bring your desires into physical form. The assumption that your desires are already fulfilled is not about simply wishing for something or hoping that it will come to you. It is the recognition that everything you seek already exists in a state of possibility within you. Your mind, which is the creative force behind your reality, can bring these possibilities into physical manifestation, but only when you align yourself with the assumption that your desires are already realized. This assumption becomes a powerful force because it changes the way you interact with the world. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who is lacking or in need of something, you see yourself as someone who has already achieved their goal. This change in perception allows you to act and respond to life from a place of certainty and confidence. Living in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled also means that you stop chasing after them. Instead of looking for evidence in the external world to prove that your desires are on their way, you begin to recognize that the evidence of their fulfillment is already within you. This inner certainty allows you to relax and trust the process of manifestation. You no longer feel the need to struggle or fight for what you want because you know deep down that it is already yours. This sense of knowing creates an energy of calm and assurance that begins to attract the circumstances, people, and opportunities that align with your desires. The power of assumption lies in its ability to change your emotional state. When you assume that your desires are already fulfilled, you naturally begin to feel the emotions associated with their fulfillment. If you desire financial abundance, for example, you begin to feel abundant, secure, and free even before the physical evidence appears. If you desire love and connection, you start to feel love and supported, knowing that the relationship you desire is already in your life. These emotional states are not contingent on what is happening outside of you, but are the result of your inner assumption that your desires are already a reality. When you align your emotions with the fulfillment of your desires, you create a powerful magnet for their physical manifestation. Living in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled also means that you stop focusing on what is missing in your life. Instead of focusing on the lack of money, love, or success, you focus on the feeling of having already received those things. This shift in focus is crucial because what you focus on expands. When you focus on what is missing, you continue to attract more of the same. More lack, more wanting, more yearning. But when you focus on the fulfillment of your desires, you begin to attract more abundance, love, and success into your life. This shift in focus is a direct result of living in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled. It is a constant reminder to yourself that what you seek is already here, and the more you focus on this truth, the more it becomes your reality. The assumption of fulfillment also affects the way you approach challenges and obstacles. When you live in the assumption that your desires are already realized, you approach difficulties from a place of confidence and resilience. You no longer see obstacles as barriers that prevent you from achieving your goals, but as stepping stones that help you grow and evolve. This mindset shift allows you to navigate challenges with grace and ease, knowing that the fulfillment of your desires is inevitable, no matter what external circumstances may suggest. Another aspect of living in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled is the importance of persistence. It is easy to get discouraged when things don't appear to be progressing as quickly as you'd like. But living in the assumption requires you to stay the course. It is a form of mental and emotional discipline to continue acting as if your desires are already fulfilled, even when there is no immediate evidence to support that assumption. The persistence in maintaining this assumption is what ultimately brings your desires into reality. The more you live in the assumption, the more you become aligned with the fulfillment of your desires, and eventually, your external world must reflect that alignment. This process of assuming the fulfillment of your desires is not about forcing or controlling the outcome. It is about surrendering to the process and trusting that the universe is bringing your desires to you in the perfect way and at the perfect time. When you assume that your desires are already fulfilled, you are not concerned with how they will manifest. You are simply confident in the knowing that they are already yours. This trust in the process is crucial because it allows you to release any attachment to the outcome. The more you let go of the need to control the how and when, the more you allow the universe to bring your desires to fruition in the most perfect way. Living in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled also helps you overcome doubt and fear. Doubt is a natural response when things are not happening as quickly as we'd like, but when you assume that your desires are already realized, you create a mental and emotional space where doubt cannot thrive. You begin to see yourself as someone who is worthy of receiving their desires, and you trust that the universe is already working behind the scenes to bring them into your life. Fear too begins to lose its power when you live in the assumption of fulfillment. Fear is rooted in the belief that something is missing or that you are not enough. But when you assume that your desires are already fulfilled, fear no longer has a place in your consciousness. Finally, the assumption of fulfillment is a way of embodying your highest self. When you live as if your desires are already fulfilled, you align yourself with the person you are meant to be. You step into your true power and potential, knowing that you are capable of achieving anything you desire. This assumption shifts your self-image and transforms the way you interact with the world. You begin to see yourself as a powerful creator, capable of manifesting your dreams with ease. This change in self-perception is one of the most powerful aspects of living in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled. It is a recognition that you are already whole, complete, and worthy of receiving everything you desire. In conclusion, living in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled is a practice that has the power to transform your life. It shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from waiting to knowing, and from doubt to certainty. By assuming that your desires are already a reality, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the fulfillment of those desires, and the external world begins to reflect that alignment. This practice requires persistence, faith, and trust in the process. But when you live in the assumption of fulfillment, your desires must eventually manifest. The key to manifestation is not in waiting for the right conditions, but in living as if those conditions have already been met. When you embody the assumption that your desires are already yours, you become a magnet for their manifestation.